Welcome to the Hypnotic DJ's first podcast. Today, we're diving into a realm where music, science, and the art of connection intertwine. Get ready to explore a spectrum of topics, from the mesmerizing world of brainwaves to the harmonious dance of frequencies and even the profound connection between music and DNA. As we embark on this sonic journey, we invite you to be part of an exciting new experience. Whether you're a music enthusiast, a curious mind, or simply seeking inspiration, this podcast is designed to captivate and enlighten. Join us as we unravel the mysteries behind the music and delve into conversations that resonate with the beat of our lives. Each episode will be a blend of insight, creativity, and the magical essence that makes us move to the rhythm of our hearts. But we can't do this alone. Your support means the world to us. So, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with fellow explorers of sound and seekers of knowledge. Together, we'll amplify the frequency of curiosity and open doors to new dimensions. Get ready to tune in, turn up the volume, and immerse yourself in the Hypnotic DJ's first podcast. Let the journey begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nicholas, and I am the Hypnotic DJ. And tonight is the very first podcast, and I am deciding to do this on the fly, no written anything, and I'm just going to go. But first, I think it's only proper to introduce myself. Like I said, my name is Nicholas, and I am the Hypnotic DJ. I've been in the business for more than 20 years, self-taught, and I've had a few friends on the way to have helped me. However, I've always been a self-starter, a self-motivator, and so now I'm branching off into a whole different atmosphere of multimedia things. And I have been on this journey for the past year, and it has completely changed my life. And that is what I want to talk about today on my very first podcast. And it is about DNA, frequencies, brain waves, and how all of this stuff is connected. So let's begin. I'm going to put a graphic up on the screen for you to look at, but I have it in my hand right here just so I can stay on track. So as a DJ, and as most people who work with music understand harmony, what sounds good to the ear, and then you understand when something is not quite in tune. So when you think about brain waves and you think about frequencies, and then you start to link the stuff together. Now, the way I stumbled upon all of this was, for many years, I had a hard time going to sleep. I would have a hard time praying. I would sit down or lay down and try, and my mind would wander off. I could never sit still. I had so much going on in my mind that I was literally running around in circles, and I was bogging myself down in a brain fog. So I started looking for things like white noise or trains traveling on tracks, that type thing for me to listen to when I would lay down at nighttime. Well, one thing led to another. Thanks to the YouTube algorithms, I ended up coming across meditation audio. And so that really started to change things because it's more harmonious, and there's a wide range of frequencies that you can listen to. Now, I have been seeing this thing for a couple years now, and it almost seems sci-fi, but is it really? It's about med beds and sound frequency healing. Well, that's quite interesting because now looking backwards, I see it very, very clearly exactly what that is. So when you think in terms of brain frequency, and you think in terms of sound frequency, and then you start to look at graphs, and you start to overlay those graphs on top of each other, and you start to realize the correlation. And then you start to realize the vibration in the tones in which you speak, the state of minds in which you are in. Now you can start to see things a little bit different. So if, for example, your left brain and your right brain are not in sync, you could almost think, well, there's two speakers that are not in tune, or it's two musicians that one is not slightly in tune with the other. Think about a tuning fork. So left brain and right brain, when you induce certain tones into the brain, it tries to interpret that. And when there are different frequencies known as binaural frequencies, all of a sudden you have a tone in one ear, a tone in the other ear, and the mind in the brain is trying to create a third one to stabilize and balance out the sound and the frequency. what's very interesting about that is many people don't even realize that their brains are just out of sync and they're overthinking things and they're stuck in these thought cycles and patterns that they don't even understand what they're doing and why they do it half the time. They'll do things and they get mad and they don't know what they're mad about. Trust me, I know. I used to do that all the time. I get so damn mad about something, I'll just kick something. I've done it. We've all done it. But when you start listening to these sound frequencies and you start to find yourself relaxing and really just allowing the frequency to carry you away, so to speak, you begin to resynchronize your left and right brain. And that's truly amazing because you start tapping into more brain power. Really, that's one of the ways that you can look at it. So you have delta, which is deep sleep, dreamy state. You have theta, which is like autopilot dreaming. Alpha, beta, and gamma. Gamma being the intense concentration. So gamma is where you really want to be throughout the day. That's what you want to be flowing through life in the gamma brain waves. But interestingly enough, when you start looking at DNA from the side, you can see two frequencies. Not only that, but if you take the DNA and look down it like a straw, now you have patterns on top of patterns on top of patterns, like gears just turning. So you have your body in the DNA has all the building blocks of life. You already know this. We've all heard this before. But inside of that is so much information going back to the beginning of time, creation of everything. And it is sacred. And there is sacred geometry, which is perfection of shapes. I won't go deep into it because there's plenty of stuff on YouTube about this. But I started to draw the correlation between the DNA, the brain frequencies, the sound waves, and started to understand things on a much deeper level. I started having all these synchronistic events happen in my life. Really profound. The ability to sit down and concentrate and write 3 or 4 pages in journaling, come up with an audiobook, read it, produce it for the first time. And now I am just going off the cuff and I'm making a podcast. I'm just getting up here talking. I have nothing but a picture to go off of. And so I'm going to keep going. Now, when it comes to spiritual awakenings, I did a video that was about 30-45 minutes and I posted it on Facebook, and then I let it stay for a while and I took it down because a lot of people, when it comes to spirituality, they have their belief systems. And one of the things that I have personally learned when it comes to spirituality is to slow down and listen. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. And the whole point is to learn from each other. So with that in mind, I came across the Hermetics. I came across the Kabbalah. I came across many different spiritual related things on this journey. And I started to also notice that with the synchronistic events like 222, 333, 444, and so on and so on, there's also a correlation between the brain waves and the numbers, the numeric values. They say that the universe runs off of numbers. Numbers is everything. And how many coincidences before something is mathematically impossible, right? So there's that aspect of it also. And it's been quite enlightening for me. But the other thing that I did not realize at first when I started this journey was the fact of, and I'm only going to say it one time because there's plenty of information on YouTube about this also, and that is semen retention, specifically for the male. So there is a whole nother layer of spirituality that is attached to retention. So retention increases attention and also helps you set your intention, because when a man is disciplined enough to retain, then he's disciplined enough to do anything he desires to do. So gratitude is another thing. When a man begins to retain, and he's got gratitude in his heart, and he's got forgiveness in his heart, the spiritual awakening will send him to a layer, the stratosphere that he has never been to before. And for me personally, I went through this phase where I almost felt like I was hearing what people were saying, but I was also able to understand their intentions. And in the beginning, it was quite alarming because it was like, I don't know this person. Like I thought I knew this person, but I don't know this person. But then the other thing you run into is mirror work, shadow work, and there's all sorts of things. So shadow work is, in essence, trying to go into your own fears and face them, right? So what is a deep down fear that I have that is limiting me in life, a self-limiting belief? So that gets into self-talk, that gets into perceptions, and when you're spiritually ascending, you're actually ascending your perception, so to speak. So now you're gaining that 40,000 foot view versus being ground level. So there's a lot to unpack. So that's why I'm starting these podcasts, because there is so much information that I want to go over, and I'm looking to collaborate with people. I'm looking to have discussions with people who are open, who want to have these back and forths. I'm not really looking to get into drama with people, but to find people that are open and want to talk about these things would truly be something I would appreciate. So back to the mirror work stuff for a second. What's really interesting about that is being a DJ myself. I've always had this self-image, and there's been times where people mistaken my confidence as being cocky. But they don't understand that I am very confident because for 20 years I was not only a performing DJ, not only working full time, but I was also a bedroom DJ, and I would practice. I would get off of work from a 10-hour shift. I would come home, and yes, I would hit the bowl, and I would get high, and I would lock the door, and I would play music for hours. So when I go live in front of people, they don't exist. It's just me and the turntables and the music. Now, I don't do that anymore. I still practice, and I practice often, and I produce reels, and I produce content. And I take that practice, and I take it as serious or as fun in the flow as just being as I am. So in other words, it doesn't matter if there's 1,000 people or if it's just me in the bedroom. I try to play with that same intensity. And there are nights where I want to practice, but if I don't feel it, I'm not going to force it because it's counterproductive. So I'm starting to really rely more on my intuition as to what I need to be focusing my time on. What am I being drawn to? What is being brought into my awareness that I need to put intention on or take my attention away from? So there's so much there. But where I was going with this was the mirror work. So being on camera, you see yourself. And I've really got to thinking about that because I've always been a kind of person that I didn't like to be on camera. So that was, I think, deep down a fear for me. And 2 or 3 years ago, I would have never got on camera and started talking like this because essentially I'm alone. I'm talking by myself, to a camera in an empty room. So there's a lot to be said about that, to just get on the mic, and we're already 12 minutes into it, and I'm still talking, and I'm actually talking about stuff that's not just surface level. So when I think about the mirror stuff and I think about cameras, one thing that really came to mind initially was the viewpoint, right? So I'm the type of person, and I always have been this way, to always try to put myself into somebody else's shoe. And that has caused me more problems than it ever has anything else. So going back to people saying that I'm conceited, taking my confidence and mixing it up and calling it, labeling it something else. My confidence came from all those years practicing and recording myself, listening. And there are people that have been really close to me can tell you that I will practice the same thing 1,000,000 times. I will polish it. And so when I go out, there's no mistake. I've done it so many times, it becomes automatic. It just happens. And so there have been people that were like, dude, that was awesome. How'd you do that? And I don't know. But I'm not cocky about it at the same time. I'm the kind of person that's like, hey, you want to come over here and spin the wheel? So um, there's like how you identify with things, right? So um, when I really got to thinking about the mirror stuff, I started doing the reels, and I was picturing myself looking at the reels as somebody else, viewing me for the first time. And so I would do some reels. I would just look at it and look at it and change a little bit, change here, change this, change my posture. And that kind of was a change for me. But what really got me, and I seen this in another video, and it's taken some time for it to really sink into me about the mirror work. So when you really get into spirituality and the concept of what you wish on others, you get back on yourself, and the concept of life is a reflection, as above, so below, as within, as without. So the state of being is always being reflected back to you. Okay, so going back to the mirror. So when you take a picture, a selfie, it's flipped, right? So the image is reversed, for one. Number two, a mirror is a hard surface, but spiritually, the veil is not a hard surface. And we know that energy is emotion in motion. So energy can't be destroyed either. We know frequencies create waves. So if you were to throw a rock into a pond, it creates ripples. So the concept is more mental, right? They say the universe is mental. It is a mental reality in how you perceive things. So what I'm trying to say is people touch the mirror. They touch the mirror. They prod the mirror. Then they punch the mirror. Then they shatter the mirror. And it all comes back onto them. And they can't figure out why. And then they're blaming everything on the outside because the daggone mirror is so distorted at this point. They have lost vision. There is no clarity. That is literally like living hell on earth. So I've had this idea going for a while now when I had seen this other creator talking about the mirror concept. So obviously a physical mirror is a hard mirror, but you go up to a mirror and say you're working out, you're just trying to stay fit, you're trying to transform your body. You go to the mirror, you can't change the mirror. You have to change the person in the reflection of the mirror. So that concept in the mind's eye would be, don't mess with the mirror. You have to change mentally inside and not affect the mirror. The other thing is what you think on the inside manifest outwardly. So that is the as above, so below part. And you can go real deep into this and use Mother Nature, tree system, the tree of life. Everything from roots grows up through and bursts through the surface and grows towards the light. So there's so many different ways you can look at that. But you have to understand that it takes time for reality to catch up. So when you start making these changes, I know for me, there was a little phase of grappling with it. And they talk about manifestation, the law of attraction, the law of assumption. There's the Neville Goddard stuff. So everyone is you pushed out. That was an interesting one for me also because thinking about the mirror in mind also, everyone is you pushed out. So what happens in spirituality terms, they say you have to be alone. They say that you will go through your spiritual awakening alone, that you withdraw from everybody. So if everyone is you pushed out and they have cord cutting and drawing your energy back, so if you're drawing your energy back, everyone is you pushed out, now you're drawing them back. Of course those people are going to leave your life. Of course there's going to be changes in your life because you are literally have been pushing on that mirror so hard. And when you let go of the mirror and it starts to come back, guess what? It's going to hit you. Because we go through life unaware of how hard we are pushing on that mirror. How many times we've hit that mirror. How many ripples we have caused in that mirror. How many times have we pushed on that mirror or took a sledgehammer to that mirror, and now you think about the pendulum. So how hard you hit that mirror is coming back to you. So at what you wish on others, you wish on yourself. As above, so below, as within, as without, everyone is you pushed out. now you grasp a much bigger concept, much bigger picture of the whole thing. That's why for several days now, the mirror idea has came back to my mind, and the original creator, I have been thinking about what that person said, Quasi, and I will see if I can at least tag him below my first podcast, and I am just kind of all over the place. I have got so much content that I just don't know how to get it all out. I've got pages and books and tons of ideas and graphics and all kinds of stuff just rambling that I just getting into the physical reality is the hard part for me right now. So going back to the original creator, or where I saw this concept of the mirror, for several days now I've had this thought of don't touch the mirror, don't touch the mirror, don't touch the mirror. So that's really sank into me in my mind recently, the complete mental concept of that, and then drawing the references with the graphics that I put up on the screen, with the brain waves, the frequencies, the left brain, right brain, what they call the hemisync or hemisynchronization. You have neurodivergent, which at some point has to converge into a single intention. So that's why some people are indecisive, wishy-washy. They are going back and forth. So there's so many different ways you can look at this. And for me, I've gained such mental clarity that trying to explain this to people coming out of this whole phase of being isolated really has been, for me, it's like, how do I explain this explosion of creativity, this explosion of ideas, this explosion of clarity of seeing things for what they are, and seeing how my own skills can be transferred and applied to other things and redirected or expanded on. So I feel like I can create spaces and places and help guide people, or at least facilitate some type of change in that manner. And so for me, just to sit around and have this newfound knowledge, this newfound creativity, this newfound internal fire inside of me, it seems like a waste. So yeah, I don't want to be sitting at that 9 to 5 job for the rest of my life. I'm not going to do it and then struggle in my business. So that's why I've never really had a big social media presence to begin with, because I don't have time to be trying to impress people that are not in my life every single day. And I don't mean that harshly. I don't mean that rudely, because if I know this is going out on YouTube, so most likely I'm not going to know most of the people, but there might be some people I know, and I don't want, don't take no offense to it. If you're not in my life, Dave Ramsey says all the time, you're driving around in a car making a payment that you can't afford to impress somebody at a stoplight that you'll never meet. So when you think about that, just think about it. We are trying to impress the mirror constantly. So who are we fooling with these self-illusions? What is the true meaning of life? What is the meaning of creating something new and co-creating and collaborating, right? That to me has much more meaning to it in life. So if you're watching this and it's been 22 minutes now, I want to thank you, and I want to say that I truly appreciate you, and I greatly hope that there's people out there that'll reach out, and I've got a lot to talk about. A lot, I don't know everything, but I've had such an explosion of ideas and thoughts that I really want to share them with somebody. So that's mainly the whole reason for this. And I've got audiobooks that I'm working on, narration, and I'm starting to intertwine AI with this stuff. I'm starting to bring that into the fold now, because there's no way that I can keep up and doing the narration and trying to stay focused on my DJ business and launching all this different stuff. I can't just go in here and just launch stuff ballistic, it's a whirlwind. So I have to have some kind of framework for this. And so I'm just kind of putting myself out here and just seeing what happens. Really, that's what I'm doing. And I plan to go deeper into the spirituality stuff the music frequency stuff. There's so much other stuff that I have not even talked about yet. I haven't covered angel numbers, the synchronistic events. There's a lot more stuff that I've experienced, and yeah. So if you're out there and you're listening, I appreciate you. Like I truly do. I truly do. And I hope that this has given you some kind of clues. If you know some about some of this stuff or not, then comment. Let's chat about it in the comment section. Did you see that? Weird stuff happens. Weird stuff happens. All right, guys. My name is Nicholas. I am the Hypnotic DJ and owner of Newlywed Entertainment. And I will see you later.